You're listening to the Therapy Sessions podcast for all your Chicago Bears therapy needs.
Welcome back. Here we are for episode 8 of Therapy Sessions, and we are back here on an extra special Sunday night, recording on a Sunday here because we just got done watching one of the most electrifying Bears games that I've watched in recent memory. The Bears somehow beating the Bengals by the score of 47-42, back and forth, wild and crazy. Looked like they were going to lose it with about 30 seconds left, and then just an unbelievable, what amounted to walk-off touchdown for the rookie Colston Loveland. So here we are. Thankfully, no therapy needed today, but lots of things to discuss. Chris, what do you got for me?
Joe Flacco rules. Skyline Chili sucks, and the Bears are back. Cheers, Nick.
Cheers, Chris.
Electrifying, that's the word, right? I think you and I both texted each other at the same time. Have had the Bears ever won a game giving up 40 points? And the last time was 2008, my birthday weekend. I was very hungover, and they beat the Vikings with Kyle Orton leading the way to Marty Booker. Do you recall the game?
Yes, I do, vaguely. I know those names very well.
It was
Marty Booker was one of my favorites.
it was quite the thing, but I was thinking about it, like, how was your football weekend, Nick?
It was great. It was different because we didn't have the normal cadence of our 7U
Yes.
flag football team, which was sad in many ways. We didn't have that. We weren't hanging out with our team, but it was nice. Got to watch some good college football on Saturday, and then today was great and watched it in a very unique way, which we can get to. How was your football
And
weekend?
I'll get to that. So instead of youth football, we had my son's 7th birthday party with like 30 kids running around us on Saturday. And to my point, Nick, the ethos of this show, the whole reason kind of we do it, if I could boil down the thesis of therapy sessions, is Nick and I are standing at a birthday party surrounded by 28 first graders in general states of chaos rampaging around us. I'm getting slowly overwhelmed. There's one kid getting dragged out by his mom after trying to get a couple other ones to like learn the middle finger. And Nick just kind of nudges me in the middle of all this chaos and he goes, "What do you think about my nun guy tomorrow?" And that is why we do the show, man. That's
That's
therapy
right.
sessions.
That's why we do
In
it.
the midst of the
That's
chaos,
it.
we started breaking down the Bears' 7th round pick running back, and it was I was really excited to record this, like really in the last minute of that game, no matter what, because I was like, man, if they lose this, I'm just gonna force his ass to record it at 3:45. We're gonna have to go. But I texted you, and I felt this way at the end of that game. Do you remember what I told you at the Raiders game when we blocked that kick that I kind of felt it was a shame because I wanted to see Caleb in the at the end of the game with the ball in his hand?
Yep, I
And
do.
it was I kind of felt like it this way. It's like, okay, there's a minute left. He's got a timeout. Let's see this, right? It was something Fields could never do. And it came up repeatedly with him. He was never able to do anything with the game on the line at the end because he could never play well when teams knew he had a pass. Last week, I think I asked you, what does Caleb Williams do well? And I think we struggled to come up with the answer. And I would tell you right now, the answer is end of halves, end of game situation. When he doesn't think and he just goes, the dude
Yep.
is pretty wild, right? Um,
Yeah.
that is the best play of the season. It is better than the flea flicker when you think about the stakes. And it wasn't a trick play. He ripped a seam to his tight end, surrounded by four guys, and that is a ball that a handful of people on the planet can make, and he does it in the most biggest, most leveraged time. And on the Loveland side of it, that's one of the finest plays I've ever seen a Bear make. Again, it's
Absolutely.
short list.
Let alone tight end. He just played bully ball and just said, "I'm not going to be denied."
Man, it is it's hard. It's super exciting, but it's also important to remember like that's one of the worst defenses I've ever seen on both sides of the ball. Right. So what do we take from this? I don't know, but it sure was enjoyable. You want to get to the grades?
Yeah, let's jump straight into the grades. Let's do it.
Quarterback.
So quarterback. Quarterback was really interesting today. It's a tale of two halves for me because when I went back and watched the condensed version, which I just finished watching a bit ago, the first half, you and I were texting and we were a little frustrated because he was holding the ball a bit. He was hitching. He was hitching about 2 to 3 more times than he really should be. And then he was making his decision whether to eject from the pocket or whether to make a late throw. But then in the second half, he looked much more comfortable. He looked much more decisive, I thought. The offense seemed to be running better. So, I mean, he won the game on an incredible play. Like you said, right up the seam, just ripped that ball. Um, just completely confident in that throw and his arm. So I'd probably give him an A minus, B plus, A minus, because he rose to the occasion. He helped them win the game, and his rating was really good. I think his rating was about 112. His QBR was
65.
65, 66. Yeah.
The biggest thing that you worry about with young quarterbacks, to me, this is like a huge red flags, is when they exit pockets that are intact, right? When they are
Yeah.
ducking and when they're running prematurely, and he was doing it the whole game. Uh, he had intact, well constructed pockets that he's ducking out either the front or the back. He's got to stop doing that. That may come with time. Hopefully, that's a software issue. It's a processing thing. He's got to see it and throw it, and you can actually see this guy thinking during the play, which is tough. But he's so physically preternaturally talented that he's able to overcome some of that. So we made a point in one of the past episodes about how Caleb has risen the floor of like Chicago Bear quarterback performances where we're complaining about Nick. What was his raw stat line?
280 yards, 3 touchdowns passing, and 1 touchdown receiving, and like 50 yards rushing. And oh, by the way, 22 yards receiving.
An argument can be made out of raw stats alone that this is one of the finest games ever played by a Bear quarterback, right? Four turnover, four
Yeah,
touchdowns, no turnovers, 300 yards, caught a touchdown, caught two balls, right? Um, Go
I
ahead.
have a good stat for you.
Yeah.
On that point, Chris, I have a good stat. This is from Kevin Fishbane
The fish man.
from
Come on the
The
show, Kevin.
Athletic. Yep, let's get you on the show, Kevin. He put out on X, Caleb Williams became the first player in NFL history with at least 275 yards passing, 50 yards rushing, and 20 receiving yards in a single game. That's pretty crazy. And he became the first quarterback with 2 catches in a game since 1953. That is wild. Go ahead.
It's a credit to him that he has raised the floor of this position in this city that we can complain about that. We need to
Yeah.
get the eye test to meet here. But there's also the fact that he's still learning this offense. Clearly, there's still structural issues. There's still operational issues. Like, man, there was a point where I think it was before that first Loveland touchdown where they get a delay game on the one, third down, and I was pulling my hair out. That was rough. On the flip side of
Yep.
it, if he comes through this and he figures it out, right, you're going to possibly have a hell of a player. He's really good at the end of halves and really good at the end of games when he can go out and be Caleb Williams. So we got to bridge those, right? He's got a lot of music and art, and now he's got to mix the science. Running back.
Oh man, been waiting for this one. Waiting for this one all week.
Congratulations to you and your
Kyle
family,
Mano-
Nick.
Thank you. This is huge for me and my family. It's a huge moment. Um, we are huge Kyle Monungai fans in this household. I've got my son Owen and my wife
His
Kristen
son, Kyle.
very excited about my son. very excited about Monungai and saying the Monungai name, which it is fun to say. He was incredible. He was great. I mean, he's everything you could ask for out of a rookie 7th-round pick starting his first NFL game. What was it? 176 yards on 6.5 or so per
Hit him with the
carry.
stat, Nick.
I sent this to Chris. There are only 2 running backs in Bears history to have at least 26 rushing attempts and more than 175 rushing yards in a single game. It's Walter Payton and Kyle Monungai now. So that's just crazy. Walter Payton did that 7 times, by the way. So that just shows you his unreal greatness. But yeah, Monungai was excellent. Some of the cuts he was making, some of the lanes he was finding. He had some explosive, I think several explosive runs. He had that 39-yard run. He was really good on screen receptions.
That's a big deal.
Just a really good game. So you got to give him an A+.
A+. Nick, I remember when I took my family to the family day, like the scrimmage where they play first team offense versus defense, and it's not televised or anything. And it's the first time you really kind of see the whole team in action. And like the first thing Nick texted me it's like, not how does Caleb look? It's how's Monungai? He's been on Monungai for months, right? And I think I might have called him Monun just a guy like a month ago. So I guess I am the Chris Jensen bum of the week for that one, Nick.
There you go.
Monungai is absolutely fantastic. Did you watch him play in college at all?
A little bit in, some Big Ten games.
Yeah, he's from Rutgers, and I don't think a lot of people would realize he led the Big Ten in rushing 2 years in a row. And a lot of that is the whole offense at Rutgers revolved around giving him the ball like 30 times a game. Rutgers would play a lot of weird Friday night Big Ten games, so I would kind of watch him somewhat. And Monungai looked today like he did in the Big Ten, like against Nebraska and stuff in Washington. And that is the best thing you can say about a rookie. And that's what I've been kind of waiting to see from Caleb, is that they look in the pros like they did in college. The biggest thing with Monungai was always going to be the passing game, and that's in the pass protection and also in the receiving game. And he's proven he can do that. I think maybe the pass protection is always just going to be a limiting factor for him because he's 5'8", 207. And I think maybe, Nick, that's a little bit why Caleb was bailing out of those pockets, was because he knew Monungai might struggle with some of the pass pro stuff.
Yeah.
I don't know where you go. Like you're at a 50-50 mix minimum now. It was last week. I think they both had 50-50. You found your David Montgomery.
Right.
You don't need to trade for one that he is advertised. Monungai's been a model citizen. He's been everything you could ask for. I was somewhat impressed by, is it Britton Brown? Is that a real guy?
Yes.
British Brooks with
it sounds like an AI running back, but
he's upright, he's tall,
an AI creation.
Scores. They gave him carries over
really
Travis
good.
Homer. But like I am very interested to see now what they do with him and Swift going forward, because you have a little bit of a natural mix between these guys and their running styles. And Swift is not cut out to be a lead back for anybody, but he would be really damn good at 12 carries and 5 receptions a game, right? Like this might make everything work much better. But Kyle Monungai, Nick, it's a Dr. Dog. It's a Dr. Nick Dog of the week.
Oh,
I think,
absolutely.
man. Maybe a double dog.
No question.
Send him
Triple
out.
dog.
Offensive line.
Our first triple dog winner. Offensive line, great in run blocking, not so great in pass blocking. Theo Benedette had a really, really tough day.
Curious to see what he grades out at.
Yes, we'll have to go back and look at that.
He shows up on TV, though, which isn't good.
That is not good. And he got his number called a few times on penalties. So I'd give him, I don't know, a C+, because they won the game and the running game looked good. But I don't know how much of that is Monungai just finding holes, finding lanes, but you got to give the line some credit there.
So I'm going to disagree with you, and I'm going to give them an A plus. Actually, I think they kicked ass.
Wow.
They
Wow.
mauled. They
Okay.
mauled that team. Nick, they rushed for how many yards did they rush for?
Was it 280 or something?
They rushed for, if you rush for
'Cause,
283 yards, you're going to get an A. They had 500 yards total. They had almost 600 yards as a team. And they mauled that Bengals front, which does stink. They're loaded with first round picks, but
yeah,
Beneday
right.
actually had a kick-ass block on that Britton Brown touchdown run at the second level. He took like two guys out. He is very athletic for his size, and he does play well in the run game. As far as the passing game goes, they were giving Caleb pockets and time. He was just like, so there's a little bit of an illusion is where you think they're not pass proing because he's under pressure. He's creating his own pressure. They center guard, they gave up 0 pressures in that game. None. Right?
Yeah.
That's what you paid for by the raw output. That's one of the better offensive line performances you'll ever see. There is another clip I sent you, and I didn't notice it live, but it was the 4th and 1 in the first half and the plus 30, and Darnell Wright absolutely buries Shamar Stewart, the first round pick from Texas A&M,
Saw that. It's awesome.
in a incredibly violent manner. And that is
Yep.
that rocks, right? There's an edge that they have, and now this is a trend that they are running the ball down teams' throats. It's really impressive, really fun to watch. I think Dahlman's playing really well. It looks like they got some of that cadence and snap stuff figured out. But right now, you got what you paid for. It would be really nice if they weren't
Yep.
starting a Canadian left tackle in his second year. That's an organizational failure, but you can protect one guy, right? But yeah, good on them. And I think we might have to send them all some dogs, Nick.
Hey, you won't hear a complaint from me when you run for that many yards.
I want to separate receivers and tight ends here because we have to. Receivers.
Yeah, good call. Receivers, you had some good, you had some not so good. DJ Moore, I think, was great.
It's interesting game. Just how they're using them.
Interesting game. DJ Moore scores on a was it a running play? I think was it a handoff or was it a toss? Or was it a reverse? I can't remember what it was.
Yeah, it was some sort of misdirection, but it was like a reverse, and that he fumbles it. It's the reverse John Fox, Benny Cunningham. I was 100% sure that was a touchback just because I'm a Bear fan, right?
Right.
You know,
but it worked our way for once.
Yeah, and then he throws a touchdown.
Happens. He threw the touchdown, and then Zacchaeus got a touchdown on a pop pass. Yeah. And so that was interesting, and that was good. Rome did not have a great game. Rome
Nick,
had
go to his stats
drops.
right now. Go to his stats, Rome, for this game. Look at it. Tell me what you see. Because I saw it and I didn't believe it. 0 receptions for 0 yards.
That's insane.
So you might not actually see him on the stat sheet.
That is mind-blowing. That is mind-blowing.
So I have thoughts on that. So one thing I would tell you is that he is the first option on a lot of these plays, and teams have realized that, and they've adjusted, and they're playing like man on him, and he's like not separating, or he's being like doubled. So there's an argument that he's opening other guys by doing that, but also like just catch the ball. In the end zone, that was brutal.
That was horrible.
He's the receiving core B-, right? They won. Tight ends.
Colston Loveland was, that final play just capped it off. Obviously, he had 2 touchdowns. It was really his breakout game. 6 catches, 118 yards, 2 touchdowns. Cole Kmet gets injured. I think a possible concussion. But Colston Loveland himself makes this an A+.
The Kmet play I found to be very irritating. I think I was texting you on it. Is Caleb actually gets him injured? It's a Y cross against zone, so they're running verts, so it's clearing out, a space underneath and there's nobody there. If Caleb puts the ball on him, he runs for 25 yards. He throws it behind him. He has a twist and he takes a helmet to helmet. Might have just got Wally
Yeah,
pipped.
he might have.
Right.
He might have.
Um,
Yep.
he goes out. If and that last throw, if Cole Kmet is the wide tight end on that play, he does catch it, but he falls down instantly, right? Or he takes a huge shot from two guys and crumples to the ground. Loveland
Yeah.
in his place is explosive. He's being weaponized by Ben Johnson. He's very clearly Ben Johnson's pick, right? That was very clearly a Ben Johnson pick. And I do think that Ben is dialing stuff up for that. I believe Ben Johnson said after the game that they were dialing up that seam shot to him repeatedly and they were trying to get it. Um,
He was. He was. I read a really interesting athletic article that just came out right after the game about that very statement from Ben Johnson. They were looking for that coverage. They were looking for the split safety
yeah,
look the entire game, and they weren't getting it.
no,
They weren't getting it. And he was calling the seam route for Loveland. They literally got it on that last play, and that's when Caleb ripped it to him. Caleb noticed it, and I guess Ben Johnson told Caleb right going into that final drive, I think they're going to show us that look here. So get ready. Caleb noticed it and just ripped it right away, hit him in the seam, and Loveland did the rest.
we talked about the stills last week, right? The screenshots on Twitter you'll see of this guy's wide open and he missed him. How about the screenshot of four guys surrounding Loveland and it's somehow a 58-yard
Awesome.
touchdown, right? That's awesome. Um,
So awesome.
what I was saying about rookies looking like they do in the NFL as they did in college, that's what Loveland looked like at Michigan. But the dude is a weapon.
Yep.
And it's hard to get tight ends implemented into offenses, and they seem to be doing it. But man, I think he needs a dog. I think that's actually Dr. Nick's dog of the week is Colston Loveland with one of the great
Oh, no
individual
question.
bear plays you will see. Thank you, Colston.
Incredible. Cheers. Cheers to Colston.
All right, defensive line.
Defensive line, I thought had a pretty darn good game. Montez Sweat, another close to a strip sack. It was ended up being a forward
No
pass,
cigar.
but he gets there and gets no cigar, but he gets the ball loose. He puts the pressure on. Would have been like his third or fourth in the last 4 games. He does get a sack later in the game. And then Austin Booker, just with that ridiculous strong arm, straight arm.
Yeah, that play is really, really high end stuff. That is such strength. So that's a one arm, long arm move on Orlando Brown, Zeus. Orlando Brown is like
Yep.
6'8, 350. He's one of the largest athletes in the world. Okay. And
Yeah.
Austin Booker whooped his ass on that play. And that actually does put the Bears for some time in that game in control of it. That turnover. Um, they get it, they kick, they go up 7 in a game they had been chasing for most of the day, especially after giving that kick, which we'll get to. Sweat has been playing about what you need. He's not playing at a $30 million level, but he's playing at a good starter level. Dexter only appears on the sheet for a recovered fumble. He is getting better, but it is really, really incremental. Dio went out, and I believe he's in a walking boot and crutches, so you may not see him for a while. He's been completely ineffective. The only thing
Yep.
he's been doing is really setting picks on blitzes. They're got to go get some. I think since you won this game and you're in now a position here, and the division has come back to you, I think they got to look at bringing somebody in here either as a DPR, some kind of defensive lineman. I wouldn't be shocked if they did it. Booker, you really would like a guy to platoon with him. Dio would have been too good to do that. He's going to be out. Dom Rob, what's Dom Rob's deal?
Dom Rob, I think it was a lower body
Still out, right?
injury, and he was out. He was out this week. He's hopefully back next week.
Maybe you call up the Bengals and see if you can get Trey Hendrickson, right? I don't know. They would really,
Yeah.
really, really There's no help coming in the secondary. It's a lot easier to add a pass rusher than it is a corner. And this defense, as constituted with these injuries, is not sustainable without a pass rush. You have to go get it. Um, if third round pick, Nick, for Jermaine Johnson, would you do that?
I don't know. Third is tough.
So
Maybe
you know
fourth.
why I
Fourth I
would.
would do.
What does Ryan Poles do with third round picks?
Lights him on fire.
Yeah. Um, I would be very interested in them getting a defensive lineman. I would give them I don't think you can't give them anything above a C when Joe Flacco throws for 500 yards against you. They did shut down a running game that didn't really try much, so good on them.
Yep.
Also, your boy Bill was pretty active today. He was around, but they desperately need more pass rush. They're not getting enough linebackers.
Yep. Linebackers. I can't really say anything, great about them. Again, they didn't seem to be great in coverage. I saw Edmonds miss on a couple um, crossing routes where he probably should have easily defended the pass.
Got one.
So I don't know. He did get one. He did get one.
It should have been it too.
Um,
That's a tough call.
Yeah. So what they said he got tapped at the last
It's a
second.
spirit of the rule versus the actual like meaning of the game where technically he gets tapped as it goes down. It's like the neighborhood playing baseball. But Edmonds at this point is
Yeah.
probably an all pro. He's doing it every week. I mean, that should have been it. He's playing really well. Edwards, that guy's your run stopper. That team didn't really try to run the ball much. I give him a B. Sewell, I didn't really notice much. They were in nickel the whole game. I mean, that entire Bengals offense is predicated on the quarterback just sitting back in shotgun and winging it downfield. Um, but Edmonds is on a pretty good streak. Secondary.
Yeah. Secondary got torn to shreds by Flacco.
Will he do it? Will he
by a 40-year-old?
Will he give his first ever F? Will he do it?
Oh yeah. I think it's enough, and I'll tell you, I'm going to preview my grade for special teams, which is even worse.
Okay. So secondary, Nick. I think you were texting me right at the end of that game. It's like, and it's like, what is this? Why are they so bad? And you got to remember that, three of these guys weren't on the team a month ago. CJ Gardner Johnson, like a week ago today, I think was filming his podcast. Like,
Right.
Nashawn Wright, I never like when we went to preseason game, like I had no idea what number he was. I didn't even know Nick McLeod went to Notre Dame, and I'm a Notre Dame fan. You were really, 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 really thin there, and that is a little bit of an organizational failure. You've put a lot of resources into that position, and that you have highly paid guys going down here long term with soft tissue injuries. That's tough. The matchup of those Bengals receivers against that group of secondary players, you may actually not see a bigger mismatch between units in the league. And that they survive that is a credit to them. Nashawn Wright did vulture an interception at the end, right? Like he's got like he's gonna like lead the league in picks. That was pretty funny. They got abused downfield, which I was worried about. I think we talked about it in the middle of the chaos of my kid's party, but like I was worried about Flacco. I think I said that he might put up 500. I think he put up 495. On that side, I love Joe Flacco. I love watching him play. It's so cool to watch that guy do that. It reminds me of Kurt Warner with the Cardinals, right? This like just old dude quarterback that knows all the tricks. And him matched up with those receivers. Jamar Chase is awesome to watch. He's so good.
Oh yeah. And T. Higgins. I mean, T. Higgins was ridiculous today.
Yeah, him and Nashawn are like the same height. He should not have been abused like that. You probably needed a little bit of a bigger game from Stevenson, but I think he's probably limited. They probably shot him up to get him out there.
Yep.
CJ, I think he had a sack. The guy wasn't on the team a week
Yeah.
ago. There was a point where Archuleta was like freaking out at the end of that game about the Bears safeties, right? How they're playing him so far back and all this.
Brisker looked to be out of position on several plays, several touchdowns. He was just way too wide outside the hash, outside the
I'll be
numbers.
interested to see what
I
he
thought that
grades
was
out at.
odd.
Yeah, I'd be interested to see what his
Yeah,
grades were. Brisker's not a cover. Brisker is a enforcer.
right,
He's a violent
right.
player meant to strike. Like he's not going to cover really anybody, but he will strike fear in the guys over the middle. Um,
Yeah,
Byard did almost get another one, but man,
yep.
these guys off the street mixed with a very inconsistent pass rush is going to be a tough elixir for this defense for Allen. You can't really even get mad at Dennis Allen because the personnel stuff is so rough. Like my actual things is like is the Gordon and the Johnson thing. It's what are these guys doing that they're missing entire seasons with hamstrings? That's not normal, and it's too often with those guys. And you need to really rethink those investments with those contracts. Special teams.
Yep. Special teams been waiting for this one. F-. Horrible.
Yeah.
Atrocious.
2 weeks
It's
ago,
just
2 weeks ago, we debated it, and I took one side and you took the other. Will you take the L?
I did not take
Yeah,
the
you
other.
did.
That's
Yeah,
not
you
right.
did.
I looked at it objectively. But at this point, I will say that the writing is on the wall. And I don't think you can go into the next game with Cairo as your kicker. Do you?
The Jaguars had some guy I never heard of kick the longest field goal in NFL history like 3 hours ago. This is like,
Mhm.
do you remember in baseball when all of a sudden everybody just started throwing 100? Like in the last 10
Yeah.
years, this is what's going on with these kickers, and you're just not part of that. And his whole thing is he's like automatic from inside 50. And the moment he isn't, he's of no use to you. And he can like barely reach
Right.
the end zone. He's kicking these
He
kickoffs like
can't.
line
He can't reach the
drives.
end zone.
But
No.
yeah,
Yeah.
he's you have like they have to go to Moody this week. I would be pretty surprised if they didn't.
Yeah.
The coverage team
Absolutely.
was dog shit last
Horrible.
week. It was really bad last week. And
Horrible.
everything was leading up to that opening kick return where I believe Charlie Jones, who is from Long Grove, I think, goes untouched. Like it's pretty rare you see a
Yeah.
kick return go like untouched. Very bad.
Right.
And then you also have an onside kick that doesn't go even 10
It's horrible.
yards. Right. So that's
What
situational awareness.
let me ask you about that. On that onside kick, what the hell were the Bears doing? Like what they did not look like they were positioned properly. They
Nick,
didn't look prepared
have
for
you
it.
ever been part of an onside kick?
No.
It is one of the most terrifying things in the world to be on the
Sure.
receiving side
Sure.
of that. It is extremely
No, I
nerve
believe it.
wracking. In my life, I had one kick to me, and I remember the kicker looking at me, and it just skidded on the ground, and I fell on it, and I didn't have to really do anything. But it is a extraordinarily nerve wracking thing, and I do think coaching goes out of the window in that split second thing, and it does become an instinctual awareness thing. But that gets to your coaching with each T. I'd be very
Yeah.
surprised if he's back. You can't fire him in season because there's no other special teams coordinator, right?
Yeah, yeah. And you're
Um,
still a winning team. Going to the kick coverage, it wasn't just that opening kick. It was almost every single kick
whole Ravens game.
was and the Ravens game, but the whole Bengals game was horrible. I don't get it.
You know, the Bears should have actually won this game by like 3 scores. When you think about the special
Yes.
teams, man,
Yes.
the Bears should have won this
Yes.
game like 38-20 or something like that. Coaching.
I thought coaching was good. I mean, I thought Ben Johnson had a good game plan. He obviously was very creative,
Yeah.
especially in that first half, as you said, emptying the clip just to try to make things work and make things click. That play call, on the Bears' first touchdown was very creative. Basically,
St. Charles special.
an iteration, yeah, an iteration of the Philly special. And so that was right play call, right situation, and I thought he pushed a lot of the right buttons. I thought he did a good job of managing critical drives and situational football. And that play call on the split safety look down the seam to Loveland, that was all him, and he set that up for Williams and Loveland. So I'll give him an A minus. I mean, maybe B plus. Just brought down a little bit by Dennis Allen's defense. What do you have?
Um, Johnson, man, it's interesting. Is there's like two things you look at with him is the schematic stuff, and then also the intangible stuff. This was a team of just losers, of just absolute losers, and they lost in every way you can imagine. And he's in pretty short order, really, really toughened them and made them into a significantly more resilient team. Um,
Yep.
These guys would have folded faster than Superman on laundry day in multiple spots all through the season. He's kept them together. And like a really just like good issue or good point of it is they go 4-2 last year. And what happens in that game? They lose, and it takes them 10 weeks to win their fifth. So they lose that Ravens game, and this team last year with a tailspin, and instead they come out and do this. We knew that they needed to split
Yeah.
these two games, and they did it. Um, but he's got them playing with an edge, and he's got them significantly more resilient, and that's something that you didn't know if he had. Everybody kind of thought the schematic stuff was going to be there, and it is. Uh, that dude, when they're scripted, is throwing some really cool stuff out there. There were pockets of the game that he was really taking care of Caleb with some of the boots and the half field reads and stuff. But I mean, they had like 4 or 5 trick plays in this game. They had the one with Bajent where he's lined up in a
Yeah, that was
slot
crazy.
receiver, and like they have, I believe, like a tight end
That was
on the
wild.
line of scrimmage. That was pretty crazy. I don't think I've ever seen that before, actually. I don't think I've ever seen a tight end motion to play quarterback, then pitch to a quarterback, then throw back to the tight end who then throws downfield, right? That's pretty gnarly.
I had no idea that random, but I had no idea that Cole Kmet is left-handed. It was weird.
I didn't
seeing
know
him
that either. Now they think about it.
throw that left-handed.
I'm
Yeah,
left-handed. Um, One
I
thing
know you are.
that
You're
I
very
like
proud of
about
it.
Ben Johnson is that there are certain drives that you can tell he refuses to not let them to he refuses to not score on it. And that comes where he's going
Yeah,
for it, where he's really pushing the matter. And one thing that he does that's really innovative and that I love, and he did a lot last year, is in like third and fives, he's almost always running the ball. And teams refuse to like catch on to this. And they did it like 2 or 3 times in this game where they just straight up picked it up. But he's so it's a huge advantage because on third and five, you're running the ball and you know you're going for it on fourth, right? You're creating these constant short yardage situations. Um, that stuff's really impressive for him to create this running game out of thin air is awesome. Do you know like where their raw rankings are on offense as of right now through them playing 8 games?
yeah. Aren't they like close to top 10?
They're top 10 in every category. They're actually damn near top 5 in every category. So they're sixth in overall
Wow.
points per game. They're like third in like yards per game. They're like third in rushing yards per game. The only thing that they're at the bottom of the top 10 is they're like 10th in passing yards per game. So this is going to be on pace right now, one of the 2 or 3 most prolific offensive seasons in the history of the team. 95 with Kramer and Jeff Graham, Curtis Conway, 13 with Trustman, and that's where it is. And this team, man, this is very reminiscent of that 2013 team. This is an offense with a lot of bodies missing on defense. And, I love that team. I was at all those games. And if we get a bunch of 40 to 38 games, so be it, man. It's better. I'd rather do that than 13 to 12.
But a much better, more stable, more sustainable leader in charge.
Did you see the post game? speech.
It was awesome.
Yeah.
Required viewing for all our listeners. Go look at
When
Ben
he was
Johnson's
looking in his pocket, he kind of got
speech.
me. I was like, oh, what's he doing?
That
That's
same here. That was good. I showed
um,
Owen. He loved it. He was ready to run through a brick wall.
good on you, Ben Johnson.
Let me now that we've gone through our grades, let me zoom out
Mhm.
because we still have a few minutes here. Let me zoom out to the big picture and just ask you, can you imagine if we would have lost that game? Just how different this episode would have been. This would have been probably a 3-hour therapy session for our listeners, for ourselves, and for our listeners.
Not really, because they've
And
done it so much.
they have,
Yeah.
but this is kind of that would have been the quintessential loss of this season that we haven't had yet. We haven't had to therapize yet.
This season you are slaying some dragons here. That Redskins one was a big one. And
Yep.
this
Yep.
is a little bit reminiscent of that Cleveland Browns Flacco game 2 years ago. I mean, literally down
Yeah.
to a Hail Mary.
It's a good point.
And a
It's a good
Tremaine
point.
Edmonds
Yep.
pick six on Flacco. He got him that one too. And so you are now overcoming some things and being given a chance to right wrongs, and they're doing it.
Right.
So that is actually really cool on a narrative sense. Let me ask you this on a metaphysical level, Nick. Do you ever think are these seasons already written and we're uncovering them week to week, right? Is it predestined and we just learn more week to week, or is it actually really all up in the air just happening? How does it feel sometimes? Because to me it feels like we're uncovering this narrative that already exists week to week, and this is a big point in that story. Does that make sense at all what I'm saying?
So are you telling me that the NFL is scripted? Is it the WWE?
More on a
Is that what you're
cosmic
saying?
more on a cosmic level.
More on a
More in a Calvinist point of view of it.
quantum physics, metaphysical, waking life.
Has this season all been written in a book somewhere that we're slowly uncovering? Because it's been a hell of a narrative so far, week to week,
Right,
and it has been a
the
fun.
script writers have gone out of their way this year. It's been fun.
Next
let's
week?
look ahead to next week.
Yeah.
Your favorite tandem in the league, which we're now short one of the guys in that tandem. Rest in peace and recover well, my friend, to Cam Scattaboo. But we have the Giants next week.
So I think the Bears are a
Field.
3.5-point favorite. Dable's 2-7. He's legitimately coaching for his job every single week. The only way Dable can save his job, and probably Shane, is that if Dart plays really well to finish his season and they're able to say that they have a good relationship with him. That's why you saw him run into the tent with the concussion, which was one of the funniest things I've ever seen. It was so awesome. I really like Jackson Dart. Nick, do you notice how I would give our kids eye black like Jackson Dart's Anakin Skywalker?
Yep.
Thing, right?
Yep.
I don't even know how good he is. He's just such a cool player. He always wears Jordan 11s. He's got the sickest swag on the field. But if you watch the Giants now, they're down Neighbors, they're down Scattaboo. Tyrone Tracy has been relegated their second back. So you're talking about Jackson Dart, Wandale, something called the Wandale Robinson, and then Motor Singletary. That's kind of what you're dealing with. And then defensively, they're pretty damn strong on the defensive line, right? You're talking about Dexter Lawrence, who's top 5 tackle. Kayvon Thibodeau is pretty good as an end. Abdul Carter is by far the most productive rookie pass rusher. So you got to worry about him. And then Brian Burns he's not great, but he's good. He's a professional, Pro Bowl level pass rusher. In the secondary is not very good. Deontay Banks is a little bit of a bust. Their starting safety, Nick, is a former Tri-City Charger, so he can't be that good.
Excuse me?
Tyler Nubin.
Excuse me? He must be a stud.
That's right.
He must be a stud.
Yeah.
You watch your mouth.
But you are going to get a desperate team. Brian, I have been really laser focused on the NFC wildcard picture and specifically the seventh seed. And I kind of haven't noticed that the entire division has come back to us. Have you seen the standings?
Yeah, we're tied for. We have the same number of wins
Everybody's
as
at
the
5
Packers and
wins.
Lions.
Like,
Yeah, yeah,
the Lions
that's
are
kind
a
of crazy.
little, but it has come back and they're in the middle of it. So I mean, really, the outcomes today were all completely about as good as you could have hoped for the Bears as far as the playoff picture goes. And we are now approaching the halfway point of the season, which is I don't the 17 game sucks because you can't split the season up. You can't do the Lovey Smith quarters. So halfway of the season is halftime of the next game. But through half of the season, how do you feel?
Oh, way better than I expected. Way better than I expected. If you would have asked me at the start of the season,
Yes.
where do you expect to be halfway?
If I
I would
told
have
you
said,
5-3,
oh, I'd be thrilled.
yeah,
If you would have asked me what I thought the record would be at this point, at the start of the season, I probably would have said something like 3-5.
yeah, I probably agree.
Or 4-4. But to be 5-3, to pull off some of these wins that you haven't been able to do in the past, and you've now learned how to do that, I feel very good. One quick anecdote from Ben Johnson's locker room speech at the end of the game. You mentioned the quarters by Lovie Smith.
Yeah,
He mentioned that to the players. I don't know if you heard that
I
in his
did.
speech.
Yeah,
He said, I told you guys we need to go 3-1 in this quarter, and we did. He goes, and we'll talk about the next quarter, the next 4 games
yeah.
coming up here. So when he's talking to the players, he's doing that. He's doing the Lovie Smith, breaking it up into quarters, which I thought was kind of cool.
We're asking this team to skip a step, right? Where this they were a 5-12 team last year, and I think people were like, "Oh, they weren't really a 5-12 team. They were so poorly coached." No, they're absolutely were a 5-12 team, right? So you are asking them to go from 5 wins to 10. It's usually not how it works, right? You usually go to 7 or 8. Just getting to 8 wins is a 3 game improvement is actually a big deal. So it is a big deal we're asking them to do, but they appear to be at least on track as of now. And I think that the Ben Johnson thing is a huge factor in it. There's still growth. The
Yep.
best case scenario that we see is that the defense gets healthier or they get reinforcements, that the offense continues to have young players emerge and supplant some underperforming older players, which we're seeing right now, but that the complexities of this offense settle down where we stop with the pre-snap penalties and Caleb by another month from now is playing freer. That would be really, really great to
Right.
see, right? And then
Yep.
what I just keep saying it, man, be in the graphic for Christmas. If we get in the graphic for Christmas, I'll buy you a beer.
I'm holding you to it. Go Bears.
Go Bears.